Hello, everyone. In this section of Module 1, we'll be talking a little bit about how to construct your Earth life history timeline. So we're going to really be dedicating this little module, a section of the module to it. When we think about the Earth timeline, we're talking about the last 4.53 billion years of life history on the Earth. And really, this is laid out in Robert Hazen's book that you're reading right now, The Story of Earth. And that's really the primary framework for generating your timeline poster. Now, below in this session, you're going to see two examples that I have for you that students have submitted. One, you'll see a link to a student example, and that is one that will come up as a PDF document for you to look at. A student had done it in a Word program and then converted it to a PDF and sent it in to me. And it's perfectly fine electronic copy. Now, the version that you're going to look at by the student, earned him about a mid-B grade. There's a lot of things that this student could have done. So I wanted to show you what the average sort of paper was, right? That B sort of line. Now, there's also an example of a student had done it on, a 6.5-foot section of butcher paper. She preferred, this particular student, she preferred to do it, at home on a table and do a lot of drawings herself versus trying to find images. And this one's extraordinarily detailed. She used up the entire, I think, almost every square inch of that butcher paper, and that is an A++ piece of work. A very, very nice piece. And I only was able to take photographs of it because she wasn't going to let me keep it. She worked so hard, she wanted to keep it herself, when I don't blame her. So this sort of shows you what it would take to get a super AA+ grade. That's on the high end of it. Now, the resources you're going to need to do these, of course, the Hazen's book, right? That provides the framework, the story of the Earth, and he takes you through the relevant examples from the birth of the Earth to the impact of the big chunk that was taken out of the Earth in the formation of the Moon early on in the Hadean, then all the way through as we emerge as gray Earth, blue Earth. And you should have these stages, when they occur, truncated out on your timeline. Now, to parse the timeline out, what you need to utilize is the geological timescale. It's the standard way geologists measure time. And right below this video, I have an image of a geological timescale. You can utilize this one to sort of make rough outlines on your drawing. You don't have to be super accurate. I'm not asking you to draw things down to the millimeter, but this is the learning assignment to help you get to learn, how old the Earth is, when things actually happened. It's not you trying to produce something that, a scientist is going to use themselves, right? This is for you to have in your head a reflection of what you've actually learned. And the geological timescale will just help you give a visual way of sort of breaking it down to give you something to work with. Now, once the framework is sort of done, from the beginning of the Earth to modern times, as you move through Hazen's book and the readings we're going to be looking at, and some of the videos, you can start filling in the fundamental sequences that lead up to the arrival of us. I think a key in the leading to arrival, considering how much life has existed on the Earth, the arrival of vertebrates. We're part of the subphylum Vertebrata. We are descended from bony fish, and our first ancestors moved upon land around 375 million years ago in the Devonian. And I think it's moving from early life forms, moving up to the ray fin fishes, and then up to our emergence as tetrapods, reptiles, and then a transition to mammals, and then finally mammals into primates, more advanced species of primates, and finally to us. You really want to sort of track that movement and flow in the history because there's so many organisms you can fill it up with. But certain people, they really want to put more fish, or they want to do whales, or they go crazy on the dinosaurs, and it's fine. But I really do want to see us in there somewhere. Well, to help you with that, I'm going to be including assignments that will give you some really good relevant examples and discuss the history of life on Earth. So when you're putting things down that actually make sense to you. Now, to begin, I have a video lecture by Liz Sagamulari, and she is awesome. She did a lecture called The History of Earth. There's a whole series that she did. But the one I have down there for you to watch is called The Precambrian, the Start of the Paleozoic. This is when life really gets going on Earth. So you'll begin to see some of the early forms, and you'll be able to look at her examples and place them right on your timeline, right? And you'll see the vertebrates beginning to emerge, and you'll pick out the relevant vertebrates that you want and begin to track our evolutionary movement. And so there's no real specific formula to follow, but I would think about it this way. Suppose you had a kid, sister, or brother that you're trying to teach them the history of Earth. What sort of poster would you make they could follow and get a feel and flow of evolution, which is actually leading up to humans, all right? So the video lecture I have on the Precambrian, the start of the Paleozoic, will be of great help to you. Now, the second thing I have on this particular assignment page for you to look at is a reading, and when you bring it up, it's a PDF, and it's done by a woman by the name of Lisa Uri, and it's actually she actually was a co-author in a biology book made by Campbell. And many of you have had biological sciences before. You probably had Campbell as your text. It's the standard sort of textbook that's been around for 30 years. And this particular chapter is called The Origin and Evolution of Vertebrates. And that takes us right down into the Devonian and previously into the Precambrian and in the Cambrian, and it shows you how vertebrates began to emerge. And you can take relevant examples of the life that this paper presents too, and put them on your timeline. And the thing to note that anything you find in your readings that show the line towards human are always going to be available online in color format. If you just hit up the image button, type in whatever you're looking at, you'll find that image. Now, if you're doing a drawing, a poster on the ground, and your artwork skills aren't that great, guess what? Print it out, cut it out, and glue it down. But glue it down easily because the paper gets really messed up if you do it that way. So, you don't have to rely on your artwork unless you like to do it. For grading purposes, I'm not going to grade you on your artwork. I'm not, unless this. If you are such a horrible, terrible artist who want to see round squares and things like that, you're much better off for grading purposes if you would find images, colorful images to put down there. I think on your own to find paper and glue them down, I think that you'll come out better that way. Now, when you put images down, they should come with explanation, like what is that and why is it important? That's always the thing. When you think about a timeline, not only you're going to be, talking about marking off the different ages of Earth and the relevant things of life forms which are happening, and also Earth forms. Remember, this is a timeline of both Earth and life. So, what big things are happening on Earth that would correspond with the arrival of different life forms. And of course, Robert Hazen's book, The Story of Earth, begins to talk about all those things, right? So you have to be, choosy about which ones you want to put down. But when you put them down with some sort of explanations, like why this is important and what happened. Remember, this is a reader for someone to sort of follow across, in 10 minutes looking at it, kind of get a feel for actually what happened on Earth leading up to us. All right. Now, a couple of things I do want to say is that while I've given you two examples, relevant examples that you could use in digital form, in the form of a PDF, as well as the butcher paper, there's other ways to do it. I mean, I've had students do some phenomenal ones out of binder paper. They have just done one binder paper at a time and laid them out. And then when they were done, they just took photographs of all the different sections and they just sent them to me, bam. And I've had students that have got phenomenal grades, A grades, on things like that, or not just binder paper. I wouldn't use it with lines, but computer paper, regular computer paper, and just do them. And what's easy about that, if you mess up, you can crumple one up and then start over again. And then you can put them together as an entire timeline and photograph those, and either send the photographs in to me, right, or take the photographs and then map them out on a Word document, put them together, and then save them as a PDF, and then they'll just scroll all together. And that is a wonderful way to actually do it too. I just want you to be comfortable and making it in a style, in a way that you're going to learn the best and is easiest for you. Some of you that have kids, they love to get involved in this stuff, and I want you to, so that you want the paper out there. You want to do all this stuff to do so you can make it a family activity. So again, feel free to do whatever you want with this. Okay. Now, next on this assignment, I want you to take some time with it because while we're doing, lab work in other areas other than the Earth timeline, you should keep this going, but don't rush through it because more information that'll help you complete the timeline is going to be unfolding throughout the course. So this timeline is due at the end of the class, right? This is going to be way, off in July, so July 23rd or 24th. I've extended the deadline and everything. So, give it some thought. Don't rush through it. As the course unfolds and new information comes out, continue to work along. It will also assist you in learning the other parts of the labs. It'll be a reflection. The labs will help you learn something to do in the timeline, and as you're constructing the timeline should help you actually work through the labs. All right. So I hope that helps you. If you have any questions about it, or even if you need more examples, I've said this huge inventory of stuff. I just didn't want to overload you with examples. But if you need more, let me know. I'll be happy to send them out to you. Okay, so let's get going on this.